Hey guys, Vibrain here. Thank you so much for coming back to my channel for another video. Today's video is going to be me finally reading your guys' recommendations. I put everything on here on a spreadsheet here. So I have 22 different mangas to read. So they're all totally different genres. So this is going to be a lot of fun. Some stuff on here that I've never read before, some stuff on here I watched like the anime or whatever, but I also put your guys's usernames on the side here so you guys can see who recommended what and then how many of each that you guys recommended. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Feel free to jump around the video to hear my thoughts about me reading your recommendations. So let's get started. So first up, we have The Promised Neverland, which the only thing that I knew about it was that season 1 of the anime was really good, but season 2 was not. But spoilers, so skip this part if you don't want to hear spoilers, but they be eating kids in this one. We have an orphanage where you like age out of it after you turn 12, but as like these kids are getting adopted, they're being sold to like these monsters and like being eaten because they're so smart. So this one really like caught me off guard, but the mother of the orphanage I think also is marked, so she might also be able to like be sold and eaten at some point. So really great story here, so really want to know how this one's gonna end out. Okay, so the next one that I read was Hirayasumi, which is a slice of life, and honestly thought this one was so cute. It's about like an uncle, he's in his 30s, who has custody as I guess his cousin, I guess you could say, but super cute. The artwork reminds me of the mangaka that did Skip and Loafer, so the cousin, the 18-year-old, actually reminds me of Me, but I love how you get both of their points of views and just them kind of navigating through life. So super cute story so far. I definitely can see myself reading this in the future. The only thing is I feel like all of them just look the same age unless they're elderly. So I was kind of shocked at first to read that he is actually 30, but I did really enjoy this. It's super chill, just kind of them just navigating through life. So I did really enjoy reading this one. So this next one I have is volume 1 of How I Met My Soulmate. Love this one. I had read it originally a few months ago, kind of forgot what had happened. So this was a great refresher for me. So it is about Yuki, who really wants to find her soulmate, and she ends up meeting this guy named Iori at a bar. Doesn't like his personality at all, very forward, kind of mean, but they end up becoming friends, and he's going to help her meet her soulmate. But as he's trying to help her meet her soulmate, they like hang out more. So I really do love when they hang out together. And then she has a crush that she had in middle school who comes back in the picture. So their whole thing gets a little messy, a little drama going on. And I really do like the childhood crush, and I do really like Iori also. And then the clothing, like the fashion in this is amazing. I know I was talking to my buddy Sad Marcus, who really likes their fashion. So the fashion is really good. The love story is really good. They are in college, so it is like an older romance. So if you guys want something like older, that's great. I only have great things to say about this, and it was a great like refresher for me to really remind myself exactly what happened. So love, love, love this first volume. So this next one that I'm reading is In the Clear Moonlit Dusk. So we have Yoi-chan, who is very handsome. Everyone calls her the prince of the school. She doesn't like being the prince of the school. She feels kind of insecure about herself. Then we have Ichimura Senpai, who is also the prince of the school. He's very handsome, but he doesn't really like, he has kind of like a cool attitude, doesn't really care about girls, but he stumbles upon Yoi-chan and immediately is kind of like starstruck. It's like, oh my God, you're so beautiful, and really like hyping her up. And she's very confused because no one's ever called her cute or beautiful before. So he's kind of just like following her around after that. and she doesn't really know what to do about it. So this is kind of like a love story where he's putting in all the effort to like reach out to her, and she's very confused. So I do love the character development of how she's starting to realize, maybe I am cute, maybe I can be girly. So I know some people don't like this one just because they say that she falls for him, like falls for the first person that acknowledges that she's pretty, but I don't see it that way. I see it that they're kind of like meant for each other. So this is so cute. I really love this one. So if you guys like where the guy is kind of more, pursuing, then check this one out. So the next thing that I decided to read was Windbreaker. I read the first 4 chapters. I did end up watching this as an anime when it like first came out, so reading the chapters gave me a cute little refresher. So we have Sakura, who is new in town, who wants to become the best fighter of his new high school. He never really had good relationships with people in the first place. Everyone was scared of him. But he comes to this new town and he's kind of like the hero of this town. He goes to a delinquent school where I'm like, why is there literally no teachers, no classes? I don't get that part, but beyond that, it's a cute story. I think it's shonen, but it gives me very like slice of life with how like he's gonna end up growing as a person. He's totally a tsundere, so you get to see him like blushing and everything else. All the other side characters are really cute too. So this was a great read. So I definitely will be keep reading this one as I go. Up next, we have The Fragrant Flower Blooms with Dignity. I read the first volume of this one. This is actually a manga that I have been keeping up with as the chapters are being released online. So I've already read up to chapter, I think it's like 130 something, but reading this first volume was so cute. I love this story. This is like peak romance, one of the best to come out in 2024. We have Rintaro, who looks like a delinquent, but really a sweetheart on the inside. His family owns a cake shop. And we have Karuko, who's sweet girl. They go to high schools right next to each other. Their high schools are feuding. Karuko goes to all girls high school. Rintaro goes to all boys high school. Delinquent high school. Very prestigious, high school for her. So they're not supposed to be conversing with each other, but obviously they do. They're so sweet to each other. This is one of my favorite mangas, like friendships. Like this group of friends is so great. Character development for all of them is amazing. Karuko has a friend, I cannot remember her name, Hoshina, I think, who I love her character so much. And you get into all of their backstories as you go on in the manga. So if you have not checked this out, you definitely need to check out The Fragrant Flower Blooms with Dignity. Love this so much. I don't know anyone who has ever said anything bad about this one. So this next one here is Lullaby of the Dawn. This is a BL. I've never read a BL before except for Summer Hikaru Died, which I don't know if that counts or not. But we have a guy named Elva who basically protects the village. He's like this chosen god or whatever who fights the Black Sea and like kills all the monsters. And then we have Alto who like devotes his life to serving Elva, and he kind of wants to free Elva. Elva's called like a Kanagi, so they're like special people appointed to fighting the Black Sea, and they basically fight the Black Sea until the Black Sea takes over their skin and like dies. So story and concept was like super interesting. Elva is very like ethereal looking, so he's very handsome. The artwork is really good. Storyline's pretty good. I want to see how Alto's going to end up saving him. So this was a good read. So next up we have Full Metal Alchemist, which is my all-time favorite anime slash manga. I've read the manga 2 to 3 times, seen the anime so many times, but this is a story of 2 brothers who are on the journey to get their original bodies back because when they were very little, they tried using alchemy to bring their dead mother back to life. So while that was happening, Edward had lost his leg and Alphonse had lost his entire body. So while Edward was trying to bring Alphonse's body back, he had to give up his arm. So Edward has no arm and no leg. Alphonse's soul is bound to the body, is bound to a suit of armor. So this whole suit of armor is just empty. It's just Alphonse's soul in there, so he doesn't have to sleep, he doesn't have to eat, whatever. So they're on the journey to figure out, how to get the original bodies back. They use alchemy. Edward is a state alchemist, but a lot of people do not like state alchemists because they are dogs of the military. There was some crazy war that was going on between Amestris and I can't remember where Scar is from, but lots of corruptness going on in the government. Alchemy is great. Characters are great. There's sadness. There's happy times. Like, this has everything all kind of rolled into one, like anything that you ever wanted. There's like even a little bit of romance going on with Winry and Edward, and everything's just great. Character development is great. Character writing is great. Just check this one out if you haven't already. So next up we have Let's Do It Already. I am so glad that I finally read this one, just because I really wanted to, but the title of it was kind of off-putting. I also was thinking, like, how long could the series go on for, because it's about a boy who's not allowed to do any like physical contact. He can't kiss his girlfriend, they can't hold hands, blah 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 blah, and a girl who wants to do everything with him. So this is such a cute story. Oh my god, I love how the love is so mutual between the two of them. I think she's a Gyaru, and I love stories with Gyarus. He is handsome, with glasses. He has a mole under his eye. I always think characters with moles like make him extra handsome, but this story was so cute. The first volume went by so fast to where I was like, oh my god, like I'm already done with the first volume. So I cannot get enough of this story. It's like has comedy in there because he has bodyguards surrounding him 24/7. He is a little, what's the word, oblivious and very blunt, so I love his character. So I'm so excited to continue to read this one. So thank you, Lizzie Churro, for recommending this one to me. Next thing that I've read is My Happy Marriage, which is a historical romance, I guess you could say. And we have a girl who was born into this family. She doesn't have this special ability. She's kind of just like plain and ugly to them. I don't think she's ugly, but she's ugly to them because she has this younger sister who's so beautiful and she has this ability. So our female lead kind of reminds me of like Cinderella, and her father kind of like arranges her to be married to our male lead, who all of his previous fiancés have all like run away from him. They want nothing to do with him, since our male lead is very cruel. He isn't nice to anyone, so I feel like there's some layers to that there. And when our female lead ends up moving in with our male lead, she still has her servant ways about her. She won't eat until he eats. She tries to like make him food and he thinks that she poisoned it. So there's definitely going to be some trust being built there. You can already tell that he's way more interested in our female lead than he ever was in any of his other fiancés that he's ever had. And he has this, I don't know what to call her, I can't remember her name, but she's older, kind of serves him and makes his food, and he's like really nice to her. So this was a great read. I like this one. So next up we have Ima Koi, which is something that I've read before, and I thought it was okay, not like my favorite or anything. I definitely like the second couple better, but the first volume, if you guys are looking for something like quick, because they do get together after like the first or second chapter, they do kiss in the second chapter, and I'm okay with things happening quickly, but I just felt like this just happens like a little too fast for me. I do like both of the main characters. I think that he is very like straightforward and honest with his feelings, and she isn't afraid to kind of like go out there and express her feelings, because she originally didn't end up telling her crush in middle school how she felt, so she really regretted that. So she wanted to be able to speak her mind moving forward. So with this new guy, Yagyu, she has no problem with doing that. Artwork, pretty good. So I definitely do remember liking the second couple a lot more than the main couple at first. Tenma, I think Tenma is his name. I didn't really like him at first because he's like super annoying. But beyond that, I think it's okay read. So next up, we have Last Quarter, which is taking me long enough to dive into. The synopsis of this is very vague, so I had no idea what I was getting into. But this is such a great story. I know Sad Marcus was really trying to get me to read this, and I'm glad that I finally dived into it. So we have a girl, high school girl, who has a lover who is a guitarist in a band from England, and you kind of see them the relationship at first, and then she gets hit by a car. Then the next thing we see is a fifth grader waking up in the hospital because the fifth grader was hit by the car, and there's supernatural elements, and they're trying to get this girl peace, give her peace and find the guitarist. His name is Adam. So there's a lot going on. This story is really keeping you on your toes. It's basically four fifth graders trying to solve this mystery of why this girl is a ghost and why she is bound to this house and she can't leave. So they're trying to figure out who she is. They're trying to find Adam for her. So this is a really great story. I think it's funny that it's not funny, but it's cool that the synopsis doesn't give you any idea of what the story would be about. So I'm definitely going to continue to read this, and it's only 3 volumes. So this next one is Go Ghost, or however you want to say it. So this is about a girl. I think she's older as well, and she is working, and she kind of just hates her life right now. She's recently getting out of I'll say a breakup, no spoilers. And she has terrible stomach pain. Her job is terrible. So to deal with the stomach pain, she takes a lot of medication, but she also drinks alcohol at the same time. So she basically dies. Her guardian angel saves her, I guess you could say. And now she's getting revenge on people with the help of her guardian angel ghost. So anyone who kind of does her wrong, she uses this guardian angel to curse them. So this terrible relationship she was in is the main person that she wants to curse, but her boss at her job, she curses. This person who lives next door to her, she wants to curse. So this is it's funny, it's a comedy, but the drawings in it can be really intense at times too. So this was, this was funny. I really did like it. So let's see, if I'll end up reading it. I feel like all of these I might just end up reading because they've all been great recommendations so far. Next up is I Want to Do Bad Things with You, which the title, I had no idea if this was going to be wholesome or if this is going to go along the lines of My Dress Up Darling. My Dress Up Darling is still really wholesome, but you guys know what I mean. But we have a female lead who kind of just fades into the background. She's really shy. Whatever people ask her to do, she kind of just does it. She doesn't stand out at all. She runs into the male lead who is very petite, frail. He's sickly, he carries a cane, but he does not care what anyone thinks about him. He doesn't care what anyone has to say. And he makes her do, something bad. And she's kind of inspired by him afterwards. So then they want to do, bad things together, and be naughty, within the school. Then the male lead has this brother who is this princely character. He's, handsome, this, that, and the third. So the male lead wants to mess with his brother. So he gets the female lead to join in, on the fun for them of messing with his older brother. And this, oh, I love it so much. They go on a little mock date. It's super cute. And I love a story where the female lead is taller than the male lead. She's pretty tall and he's really short. And I love stories like that because I'm tall, I'm 5'11", so I love a story like that. So this was such a great read, and it just went by so quickly, so I have to keep reading this one too. Next up, we have Kusunoki's flunking her high school glow up. So we have Kusunoki, who was in middle school. She was otaku. She has a glow up in high school. And then there's also the male lead who also ends up glowing up in high school because there is this very mean girl in middle school. So he was like, I'm going to end up changing my whole appearance. I'm going to have my high school debut. But back to Kusunoki, she reminds me of Komi Can't communicate, or she reminds me of Comey from Comey Can't Communicate, because she has a hard time now that she's super pretty and she had this glow up. She's having a hard time talking to other people, so she recognizes our male lead from middle school, and she's like, oh my god, we're doing our high school debuts together. You need to help me like be more comfortable with talking to people. So they end up becoming friends, and he's super reluctant because he doesn't really want anything to do with her, and he's trying to push her away, but at the same time he, like, deep down he does not want to push her away. I know he likes her. I feel like it's very obvious that she likes him because she gets so excited to talk to him. She only feels comfortable, like, he's the only boy that she feels comfortable talking with. So whenever she's sad, he gets like sad. He wants to protect her. Oh, I love it so much. And I'm excited to see where the rest of it goes, because the girl that bullied him in middle school goes to their school, and we don't know if she recognizes him yet or not. So I will be keeping up with this one as well. Next up, we have Eden of Witches. So this is maybe like a sci-fi fantasy, if I want to say. I've never read a story with, or I've never read a manga with witches in it before. But this one is about Piri, who's a apprentice to Tura, I think is her name. And in this world, like, only witches can live with plants, or like they know how to take care of plants. So everywhere else in the world, like, there's no plants, there's no grass, no flowers, no trees, so you can't have any crops or anything. And they also don't like witches at the same time. So like when they catch a witch, they like turn them over and then they kill them. So Piri's master is very sick, so she finds someone in town who's going to help her. Brings this guy to town, which, or brings this guy back to their hideout, which I'm like, why would you do that? But of course, he ends up being a bad guy, and then her master ends up dying. So now she's going on this journey to fulfill her master's wishes. So she also has to be like undercover witch, since she saw firsthand that they kind of burn witches at the stake. So I'm really excited to see where this story goes as well. This was a pretty good fantasy. There is, action in there also, some deaths, and yeah, this was good. Good read. So we have Nausicaa, I think is how you pronounce her name, Valley of the Wind. And then when I started reading this, I saw it said Studio Ghibli. So I'm assuming that means that this is a movie. I don't know much about Studio Ghibli, but I know that that means that the movie is probably really good. The artwork in here was like insane. So I would love to see this animated. So we have a girl who I think can kind of like speak to, or like understand these creatures, kind of just like scavenging through this forest, and she's going on missions and everything. But I would love to see this as a movie. I was having a hard time following along reading it, but I feel like if I like was watching it, it would be a lot easier for me to follow along with the story. Just because like reading, I don't do a good job with a bunch of words. So like reading and trying to like keep track of everything was not going well for me, but I would love to see this as a movie. So after that, I read Dorohedoro, which I see like everyone always having this on their shelves. I had no idea what this was about, and I was very shocked to see that we were just like killing people and slicing them in the first like a few pages. It was, the drawings are very, very detailed. So I believe he's going to be the main character, was turned into a lizard by a magic user. And from my understanding, people don't like magic users. And if you are a magic user, you can like have these doors and portals. And if your hands or like fingers get injured, you can't use magic anymore. So this guy who was turned or has a lizard head, there's a person like living inside of his stomach, I guess, that he has no idea what they look like, and he has no memories of what his like previous self was like, so he doesn't even know what he used to look like. So he's basically going on a journey to find the magic user that turned him into this lizard man. But very like gory, lots of action in this one, so this was good. After that, I read Claymore, which is another one that I see like a lot of people having on their shelves. I know that this is a staple, but again, I had no idea what this one was going to be about. But we have Claire, who is a Claymore, so she's half human, half monster. And these Claymores, like, inject this monster blood into them because then they're able to detect these monsters that are living amongst the humans, because the monsters like eating people and they have to eat people to survive, so kind of like a Tokyo Ghoul type of vibe. But only people who are claymores can detect them, and they're only able to like hold claymores are, you know, these giant swords that you have to hold with two hands, but they can hold them like with one hand. And then there's this little boy whose whole family basically was devoured by these monsters, so he's following around this claymore, like bothering her in a sense. But you're basically getting the journey of those two like fighting these monsters, and eventually they're saying that Claire the Claymore is going to be 100% monster at one point. So I really did enjoy reading this one. This one went by super fast. So the next one that I'm just going to be talking about is Killing Stalking. I have read this whole thing already, but this person who recommended this one, I cannot read this one again, but I'll talk about it. So it's about this boy who was kind of like obsessed. He had like obsessive tendencies with like stalking his crushes, and he decides to stalk this one guy, Sungjin, I think was his name, or no, Sungwoo. He decides to stalk Sungwoo and realizes that Sungwoo is like this mass murderer who like brings these girls back to his apartment and kills them. So he becomes like this whole victim, and they have this very weird dynamic going on. So definitely do not read this. This is like the craziest thing I have ever read. Do not read this if you're not prepared. Please be over 18 if you decide to read this one. Way worse than Goodnight Pun Pun, like worst thing that I have ever read in my entire life, but it actually was really good. I wouldn't read it again, but I wouldn't be like, I wasn't opposed to reading it the first time. So the last thing that I read is The Girl from the Other Side. This was such a good story. It is about a world where there are like cursed people. So there's this black creature animal thing that's cursed, and he's the teacher to this little girl, and she can't touch him, and she can't like go outside because people will think that she's cursed, and if she does touch him she'll become cursed. So this is like a lots of mystery in this one. The teacher, not really sure if he's like the little girl's dad or something. I don't know what's going on with that, but this is something that I will definitely be keeping up with as well. The person who recommended this one also recommended The Story of Seven Lives. But unfortunately, I could not find that one to read for free, so I will not be reading that one. But thank you guys so much for leaving all of these awesome recommendations for me, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!